16 teams down, 16 more teams to go. But you know what the best part is? Football's on this week. For all 32 teams, we'll be able to be playing a game from Thursday to Sunday, week one of the preseason's here. If you like watching the backups, you want to see that one person on that one team that you wish your team drafted make that other team. Whole lot of fun stuff coming up. But welcome back to episode 96 of For the Fan. I am Will, and I got Dom and Jake, and together we are the Three Stooges. Hello, gentlemen.
Sure. Yeah, no, preseason, it's fun when you have like a backup quarterback that just like when your quarterback situation doesn't matter and you just have the backup doing that the preseason the whole time, and it's just like fun. Like I remember, being a Patriots fan and whatnot, when it was still Brady and Jarrett Stidham was there, and he had a fantastic preseason just because Brady wasn't playing. Maybe he played a drive the whole preseason. So, like, sometimes it's fun to watch when those situations come around. Other than that, it's preseason.
Even like a receiver too, like Victor Cruz. Like I went back and watched the 2010 Hard Knock Jets, and it's just who's number 3? Why is he burning us on every play? We gotta cover that damn Cruz guy.
It's fun. It's fun. It's like fun football.
I think there's only been a handful. I think like 3 of one-off season preseason games that I actually watched. It was the Carson Wentz rookie year, but also there was Tim Tebow, so I watched like the entire game.
Got to see what the Catholic boy can do. But yeah, AFC South this week. It's going to be it's exciting. I mean, there's not a lot of excitement, but it's youthful. It's exciting in the part that there's hopefully a lot of these quarterbacks that are in this division are here for 10, 15 years down the line, just cycling through doing their thing. And there's also a lot of question marks too. I mean, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah.
Are y'all?
Are y'all?
Let's get it. Let's go. Let's get into it right now.
You are listening to For the Fan.
Episode 96 is on the way, and it is right here. And thank you for tuning in wherever you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or you listen to us next day over on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, some weird thing that we just get a bunch of listeners on for no reason, which is still kind of cool. But yeah, thank you all for taking the time and joining us on this this division ride. As I said before, 16 down, 16 more to go. We're going to continue with the AFC South. A little bit out of order here because our guy Colton was not going to make it on this episode, but we wanted to make sure we could get his team on and down. And let's go into here. We start with the worst team. We make our way to the best. And let's head to Houston here because, last year, week 18, all the Texans had to do was lose the game. They secure the number 1 overall pick. Lovie Smith says, no, we're playing our guys and we're going to be winning this game. Davis Mills hits Jordan Atkins. I think so. Yeah, Atkins, the tight end. That's now in Cleveland. For a touchdown, 2-point conversion secures the game for the Houston Texans to where elevates the Bears to the number 1 overall pick. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, we're looking at the new face of the franchises here. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, number 2 and number 3 overall for the Houston Texans, along with DeMeco Ryans, first-year head coach, but also defensive coordinator for the 49ers for the last 2 years prior, and also an assistant on that roster for Kyle Shanahan. And let's get right into it here.
And a former player on the team, former Eagle as well, right?
Oh, yeah, former Eagle, former Texan first-round pick or second-round pick.
From not too long ago, like 10 years ago.
Like 2009.
2008, I think is when he came to the
Eagles.
Eagles.
Maybe 15 years ago. Yeah.
I think his last year was 2015.
Oh, yeah. So really not that long ago. So that's pretty cool.
A whole lot of youth in Texas for at least Southern Texas. Looking at the offense here. The Texans as a whole, they have a nice mix of both old and new. So obviously CJ Stroud, he's the starting preseason week 1 against the New England Patriots. Davis Mills is quarterback 2 right now. They get that young and Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary with that veteran presence. And then you look at the receiving core. Nico Collins is there for another year. They bring in Robert Woods from Tennessee. And then John Mechie, let's not forget about him, drafted last year, didn't play last year due to leukemia. Now he gets to play his unofficial rookie year, but I'm going to consider it a rookie year because he didn't get to play last year at all. And also the acquisitions of Tank Dell, Noah Brown, tight end room 2, Dalton Schultz, who bet on himself for getting a big deal, did not go back to the Cowboys. He goes down south in Texas. And the offensive line as well. There is a lot of good pieces here of youth and old. Well, I shouldn't say old. Veteran presence, youthful presence here to really combine and make this team. I'm not going to say a playoff team this year, but it gives everyone that experience of, hey, this is going to be a long learning process for us.
I mean, I don't hate this team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I got my favorite name of all time, Juice Scruggs, the center.
That's why I wore the shirt today.
I like that. There's pieces to the team that I think are exciting, like Mechie. We didn't get to see that yet, and I look forward to seeing what he can do. I think he's a solid piece. I'm excited. Young player that's has a lot of potential. And then Robert Woods is honestly not a bad acquisition to this team. If that's a third receiver, that's not bad. Noah Brown wasn't bad last year at all with the absence of Michael Gallup and stuff and absences of other receivers and stuff on Dallas. He actually had a pretty good season. I even had him on my fantasy teams at certain points because, well, he actually produced. So that's not bad. So there's guys on this team that, there's pieces. And then Dameon Pierce, of course. I mean, come on. The dude.
We got the traffic cam up on here.
Let's try it.
What's up,
there
gents?
He is.
Washington.
Live from
the Josh view?
What's the traffic like going down I-95?
It's awful. The traffic is awful. So I do not recommend anyone going to DC, even though this is Will's favorite team. Just past FedEx Field here, of the Washington Commanders, Will's favorite teams.
They're the Redskins. It's official.
I think they're about to be the Redskins again.
They could.
They could very well be the Redskins.
I don't even think it's a sin to say that name anymore, just because it's everywhere right now. So, no.
Never was going to be correct.
Yeah. Colton muted. I'm not gonna. I'll take. We'll go full view here, boys. There we go. But yeah, no. I mean, Texans. Offense at least. Texans offense. It ain't bad. It ain't bad for a team that was basically last place in the league last year, right? I am not upset with the roster on offense whatsoever.
And they also got 3.5 wins in the division, which is a lot better than some other teams in this league too. For being that bad.
We didn't really touch on this, but let me show this real quick. Yeah, they're 3-13-1 last year, and they were 3-2-1 in the division. They had 3.5 wins the whole season, and all of them were in division. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's a pretty fun subject to just say. Like, okay, interesting. They more than half beat the rest of their division. So that's
more beat half of their division.
More half beat half of their division.
Conquered more than half.
They played 6 games and they won 3.5. So that's fair. But yeah.
I mean, I think the thing they like most of this team is they were able to run the ball at least pretty well last year, and they have a better offensive line. Like Juice Scruggs at center was probably the best run blocking center that you could have picked up. Like he's just an absolute mauler at center. But does anyone know what's going on with Titus Howard? Because I know he's supposed to miss a couple weeks.
He broke his hand in practice. He had surgery, and I think they put a pin in his hand. And I think they said 4 to 6 weeks, but it could go as long as 8 weeks. And this was Monday.
Yeah, hand at tackle is kind of an issue.
Yeah,
but they have George Fant. They signed George Fant. He left the Jets, and he played right tackle. He's played left tackle. So if they need that starter, he could fill in, and he won't be who they're missing. But they got that.
Did they have Shaq Mason last year, or is that new?
Oh, they traded for him this year.
Yeah, okay. So that's he's had good times.
Like they're doing the right thing. Like you have a run game and you have an O-line for a rookie quarterback.
And a second year running back who has a ton of promise. A ton of promise. Yeah, honestly, what more can you ask for a team that was essentially last place last year? You really can't. I cannot criticize anything this team's done this offseason. I can only praise it. And they're on the right path. They're doing their rookie quarterback a little bit of a service with this offense. Like it's solid. It's solid.
I mean, people forget how good Mechie was in college. Like he got overshadowed a little bit by Jameson Williams, but he was a dude.
I think Mechie. I'm excited.
Like an all-around good player. Like he would block at receiver as well.
I was saying it's huge that they're getting Mechie back.
Yeah,
The fact they're going to have him and Nico Collins as your two weapons is
It's
very solid.
And then you got Robert Woods as like the third guy, which is like I
Again,
don't
still a lot better than what's going on in New York, boys.
It's a fact. Let's move on to some defense here, huh?
Yeah, let's look at the defensive side. So they trade away another one from the. No, they trade their one next year to move up to it was a whole confusing thing. The Cardinals trade back to 12 where the Browns pick was that the Texans have from the Watson trade. They move back up to I still can't understand this. I think there's a first and a second missing at some point for the Texans. But when does it happen? I have no idea. But on defense, that veteran presence, they bring in Sheldon Rankins, Denzel Perryman, Steven Nelson from Philly, Jimmy Ward from the Niners. So they got a captain who knows DeMeco Ryans' defense, and they mix it with the youth. Derek Stingley, second year, Jalen Petrie, stud, second year, Will Anderson. We know what he's going to be doing, and he's going to be a game wrecker, and also, a mix of who they have already had on this team, Jonathan Greenard, and just all this other company too. I can't hate this defense. I really can't. It's just right. It's just right. I can't think of the other word.
They like their Alabama guys, huh?
SEC.
Like
Roll Tide.
Henry 2-0. Like I liked him coming out of the draft as well. I didn't even know they had him.
It's 2020. That's the official like pronunciation of his name.
I think that's it. I think 2020.
You might have to have that pronunciation game at some point because that'll be fun.
This secondary is kind of nice. You just said them all: Desmond King, Stingley, Jimmy Ward. That addition's pretty huge. And Petrie.
And you look at the depth too. Shaquille Griffin, who was at 2 years ago one of the biggest cornerback acquisitions for free agency. He's out of Jacksonville. He goes to Houston here.
It's really not a bad secondary. And you got Denzel Perryman, a dude a veteran player,
longtime Charger. He's been bouncing around the league. I think he was a Panther at one point too.
He definitely was. But this is solid. Like this team is put together at least a little bit now. You can put this team on a field and compete, and I like that. I like that they went from last year's like, hey, we couldn't win a game out of our division. We were last place essentially. And now there's a competing team on the field every Sunday now. That's solid, man. That's like really what more could you ask for out of this team from last season, off season, and going into this season? I'm happy. If I was a Texans fan, I'm happy with what's going on.
3-4 years removed. Well, 2019 was the last time they made the playoffs, where they had that game against the Bills, and then they had that historic lead on the Chiefs, and then blew it all, and that was kind of the end of the Texans as we once saw for the 2010s.
And think about top to bottom. What a different team now. Like just different top to bottom. Not even close.
They just did it. They did it right. Like they're going to have these veterans that are going to be teaching these young guys because they're there as just starters, and then they're going to obviously get replaced at some point. But
It's a really good mix. It really is a great mix.
Yeah, they have that core foundation of 7 to 8 youthful guys that they really want to build this team around. They get some veterans that can help elevate those guys on, both sides of the ball, from Stroud, Pierce, Mechie, and then you go on the defensive side, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see what's going to be happening for Houston Texan football, especially this year, and maybe down the line, depending on how difficult this AFC will be in the years to come to maybe secure a playoff berth.
100%.
Let's move on to the schedule here. I almost said defense, but yeah, let's go on to the schedule here. I mean, there's 3 big matchups, and they're right down the middle there. The Colts, the Falcons, the Panthers. Youthful team versus youthful team. Looking at it right here, I mean, 58-0 against the Arizona Cardinals. I think we all know what's going to happen there. CJ Stroud's coming out game, touchdown record. Damian Pierce, rushing record. He's doing it all. But yeah, I think some pretty... would it be bold for me to say that they could probably match their division record last year? I'm not going to say they're going to tie again, but I say 3-3. I think it's bold to just say that for right now.
I think they could put up 3 wins. I mean,
depending on how many division games they steal, they could be on the bubble for the division.
It's true.
Like,
1, 2.
Do we think anybody in this division before we even get there is like a huge runaway?
Well, I think right now the Jaguars. I think as of right now.
Yeah. So if they steal 1 or 2 from the Jags, which they with a run game you can steal a game from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. That's not what I'm trying to get at, but I think
they're not going to be a playoff team. But I really think that
they could be definitely a player in the division.
Look at that. Look at from weeks 12 to 18. No NFC. There's those teams that can be fighting for a playoff spot, and they could be that home wrecker where, hey, you're on the verge of making the playoffs now. We're beat you, and then they can honestly kick the other team out.
I mean, they could be ending their season after the bye with a winning record going into next year.
I put them at 7 to 9 wins. So yeah, I mean, like that's just right around 500.
I was thinking 6.
Yeah,
I was thinking 6. Maybe you could go as high as 8. They have all that just nice juice there for the Texans.
It's a lot of wins there, Dom. You're giving those Houston Texans a lot of props, man. Wow. 9 wins as a max? Woof.
As a max. That's
Woof.
like they're cooking. But
I'm with Will around 7 here.
All right, I'm okay with that.
I mean, hey, we get to see, battles in between the top overall quarterbacks there. Anthony Richardson, they could see at some point. Bryce Young, they're definitely going to be seeing. It's exciting. It's an exciting time for the Texans. It's not a playoff berth this year, but down the line, they're going to be it's exciting, especially what they've done with the roster. And I know they're not finished yet, but they still got that last one.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind that week 8 is a noon game. How do you have Bryce Young?
No, these. Oh,
yeah, it's.
Well, I mean, you got.
How do you have the first and second guy at a noon game, bro?
Because it's Houston and Carolina.
I get that.
Yeah,
but
you got 2 top 10.
Because you're going to have the Cowboys there regardless.
Yeah, the Cowboys are your 425 team always for Fox.
They're
not going by. They're not going by. Oh, hey, if the away team's in NFC, they're Fox. Like each network gets like a pick of the games.
I think that's a sucky decision.
If it was week 1, I think it'd be a 4:00 game. If it was week 1, but
I want a 4:00 game. I feel like that should be a night game.
I mean, no one wants to see the Texans on a 4:00 game. Like I don't. I want to see like, oh, hey, I want to watch the Lions because they're excited. I want to see the Bills. I want to see like exciting teams at the 4:00 hour.
To me, it's just like, hey, for the next however many years, is a story not going to be?
Should be a Thursday night game, if anything.
Amen, dude. Amen. It should be a under the lights game. You have the first of potentially many battles, maybe between 2 of these top guys drafted in the same year. they're going to be compared constantly for the next 10 plus years. No, I mean, I think game one should be
play a
under
Thursday night game this year.
It kind of sucks. I think that
No,
sucks.
they don't. No, they don't play a Thursday night game this year.
There you go. That could have been their Thursday night game.
Well, because they finally made it so you're not guaranteed to have a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
That's why they gave the Steelers too.
Anyway, I think we're good on that, right?
I'm pretty good on that. Hey, there's excitement in Houston. I mean, we might have liftoff, but the Colts, that's a very big different story. I think this team might be the bottom of the division. But a year ago, they traded for Matt Ryan, third round pick on my birthday, actually. Trade him and take on that entire contract. They go in and they think, oh, we're quarterback away. They trade away Carson Wentz, trade him to Washington, acquire some assets back that they gave away to Philly. And yeah, Nick Foles, Sam Ellinger. Yeah. And let's not forget the injuries and the worst blown lead in NFL history.
So before we start, I have one question. Is it set that they're starting Richardson?
No, I don't think so.
That's why I didn't think they were committed yet to starting him week one, game one. Like,
no, I don't think that's like set in stone yet. I think it's Gardner Minshew's team to lose, but I think Richardson's getting more first team reps as camp goes along.
I don't think it's a bad idea to start the season with Minshew.
Minshew's. I mean, hey, bring him back into the division where he was, doing everything in 2019. Like Nick Foles went out, and then Gardner Minshew steps in. He does his stuff.
I think
the 2019 Jaguars team was fun.
Richardson will be good. I'm not sold that he'll be good right out of the gate.
That is a big developmental project.
Yeah,
and he's kind of in the middle of let's bring up the offense.
Like I know skill is high, but like how many times have we seen a guy who didn't start much in college come in and just flop, regardless of all the gifts?
Like, I'm gonna look up. Let's see fewest pass attempts in NCAA for first round quarterbacks.
It's Trey Lance, Sam Darnold,
Trey Lance for sure.
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
Cam Newton. Yeah, Cam Newton's on there.
Wow. Well, he was running the ball a lot.
Well, attempts or games started. That's what I was going off of.
I was doing pass attempts.
Games. That's always been the benchmark of games. I forget the number, but there is a number where it's like if you're below this many games started before the pros, it's not a good indicator for future success.
Yeah, I can't find what I was looking at, but let's go back into the roster here. The question mark is obviously a quarterback, but that's the lesser of the two question marks. The other big question mark is what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, within the last hour, actually had left Indianapolis after almost stepping foot onto the Saints practice field. Irsay offering more money. He goes there. He leaves now. And with Zach Moss. Oh, no, that was Naheem Hines. But no, Zach Moss, broken arm. Jonathan Taylor still dealing with the ankle. That leaves Evan Hull, Colton's man of the hour, Jake Funk, the Funkadelic, probably week one starter for the Indianapolis Colts. But then looking at the rest of the team, Isaiah McKenzie, Alex Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, they took out of UNC. The offensive line, it's not as good as it once was a couple years, especially during the Phillip Rivers time. That was probably one of the better ones that they put together.
Some of those guys are still there. You got Braden Smith, Frank Kelly.
It was so shocking how bad Quentin Nelson was last year.
Huge drop off for no reason.
I think he was injured too for a decent amount. He was definitely injured for a good portion of that season. I mean, that was the entire Colts too. There was just so many injuries. And then also at tight end to Jelani Woods, who broke onto the scene last year. Mo Alley Cox, who's been there for, ever. I'm not necessarily excited to see Colts football. I'm really not.
Certainly
I was excited to see Richardson and Jonathan Taylor together I think, especially with Shane Steichen, what his offense looks like that pairing could have been really special.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Taylor is PUP plus wanting out,
plus he could just not play at all this year. Like
now I'm just like, okay, well, don't start Richardson because that might go south really fast.
They also added Kenyon Drake this past week. That's
they
on there.
have 9 tight ends.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Makes up for all the receivers they don't have.
Yeah, I mean,
you're telling me Brashad Perryman's not a good receiver?
Yeah, but he's
you're not telling me Amari Rodgers, the second best A Rodgers in the AFC, right there.
Not a big fan of Michael Pittman. Not a big
Not
Michael
really.
Pittman guy. Really, you don't like Michael Pittman? Really?
I think he's a lot. I think he's a slot monster or a slant monster like Thomas.
Oh no!
Don't say that. Don't say that. They're gonna come after us in the comments.
We're gonna have again. We're gonna have that Saints fan on our tail again.
We're gonna get canceled.
I liked Isaiah McKenzie last year. I really did. In his role for the Bills, I liked him. I mean, he's a decent addition to this team. But yeah, no, this is not. I like Stroud's situation a lot more than I like Anthony Richardson's situation. You know,
no one wants to play for the Colts. No,
I don't know what happened, man. It just went. They just.
I mean, you had Peyton Manning. Everyone wanted to play with Peyton Manning.
New worst owner in football, Jim Irsay. New worst owner.
I've heard stories about Chris Ballard from players' interviews.
Yeah, I've also heard.
It just seems like this team's just about speed.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Alec Pierce, speed. Isaiah McKenzie, speed. Ashton Dillon, speed. Haven't really seen enough of Josh Downs I haven't watched a lot of NCAA football to look at that. Perryman, we know he's speed. Vincent Smith, speed. Amari Rodgers, he's not been on the field that much to really give you it, but there's just too much speed that goes around for this.
I just don't like any of the situation at all. Stroud has, which is wild to me because I mean, our dude that has complimented us previously that we've shouted out, that Will called headless, is not headless, it's heedless, but nonetheless, I would just disagree. I
like Stroud's more than I like.
Yeah, I like Stroud's more than I like anything here. That's the issue.
Yeah, I agree. I like Stroud's more.
I mean, Michael Pittman's just good for the fantasy aspect.
Yeah,
but then when you're looking at what he's like doing, like I'm not too sold.
He's Slant Boy 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, he put this in Pittman, but like, I don't know. I just don't. There's less of a built situation here.
He agrees. He agrees.
If you're playing defense against this team, you're covering Pittman, and then like you can cover everyone else efficiently, and it's just like not.
And it's not like you got to care about the run game.
Yet we have no clue. There's too much.
We don't even know what's going to happen
as it stands currently.
Here, I want let's go to the defense here. I want to just kind of like.
I agree.
Push this team under the carpet. Okay, but on defense.
We're not talking about the Cardinals. Well, geez, come on.
We spent like 18 minutes on the Cardinals. Okay, I still will never get that time back. But Shaq Leonard, he came out in an interview, said he wasn't sure if he was going to play again after his injuries last year with his back and all that. Outside of like Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, Rodney Thomas, I'm not a big fan of this defense.
I don't really like this team all around.
Like, I hate Kwity Paye.
I think the Colts have competition for the worst team in the AFC with the Raiders. I really think they do.
This team could go last.
Oh, this team could probably be last by a mile. I'm not even going to say like. I'd say they could be last by like 4 or 5 games. Like, there's a decent chance that they could just be like the basement of the AFC South, and let alone the AFC.
I always talk about like last in league if the Cardinals didn't exist.
That's a competition.
I mean, if the Cardinals didn't take 75 seconds to get a playoff. I mean, there's a pretty stiff competition there. Which Eagles coordinator is going to be worse this year? Don't answer that, Jake.
I was just about to say
Oh
that.
my god!
And we all know the answer to that question.
Wow! Imagine going from the Super Bowl to
First, second overall pick.
parallel basements. Like, this is not fun. This is not.
I like Steichen way more than Gannon, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
Just give him a running back.
Steichen on paper, I mean, man, both papers suck, but Steichen should have a better situation than what Gannon has in Arizona.
stuff is just not going well, though. Like I said, there's too many question marks on offense, and I'm not confident in this defense's ability. Looking at this on paper, this is tough, man. It is tough. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to the schedule part.
I mean, without looking at the schedule, if they had Jonathan Taylor healthy and in the lineup, I could probably say as a 9-win team with Steichen.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you just run the ball down their throats every play.
Keep the defense off the field and win plenty of games. That's how they snuck into the playoff. We snuck into the playoffs. Jalen's like technical rookie year, but second year.
Mm-hmm.
And you have something to fall back on. Right now, they have nothing.
Boys, it gets worse. Like, this division gets worse. Don't worry. We still have a team that's worse than this, I think. That's
maybe
coming up.
Maybe.
I don't say maybe. I think they're dumpster fire.
Did the Buccaneers get realigned in here?
I hate you. But, like, yo, I hate you for that. I'm shocked you didn't say the Cardinals were.
Oh no, no, Colton. We actually put in 30 more minutes for the Falcons because there was a lot more to talk about this week.
I know Dom had plenty to talk about the Falcons. I know he had plenty to say, but no, seriously, like what I don't understand here with the Colts is you have a rookie quarterback. He's probably going to play after week 4, is what I'm assuming. They're going to let him sit behind Minshew, then they're going to throw him in. You got nothing there outside of Pittman, and from the group, you guys don't like Pittman. So he really has nothing. So if you want him to be successful, you got to have a run game so he's not sitting back there having to sling the ball 40 times because that's not going to do him any good. So I don't know what we're doing here. Jonathan Taylor is one of the better backs, and he's been healthy. He really hasn't been hurt.
Wow.
Like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't have the injury resume like those guys. So pay him. Pay him. You got a rookie quarterback. Toss up the dough. Pay him. If not, trade him. And then sign Kareem Hunt. I know Kareem Hunt's also been talked about there in Colts land. Like, figure it out. You got a rookie quarterback. This is not the time to be dilly-dallying over dollars when you got a rookie quarterback.
I agree. 100% agree. And yeah, Kareem Hunt on this roster, I'd be a lot more confident in this roster with Kareem Hunt. 100%. He's still got a lot in the tank, and I think he's a good running back. And I think he could,
like if Dalvin was on here, but this isn't a team that wants to win right now. I really think a lot of these running backs are just going to they want to go to a team that is competing for the Super Bowl, not, oh, hey, rebuilding, all this stuff, la, la, la. I mean, I also forgot to mention too, like this team also hired Jeff Saturday to be their head coach for 10 games. They hired an analyst to just be their head coach as well.
Well, he's a lot more than an analyst to this team, you know, and Irsay and
I would take Saturday over Gannon.
Let's look at the schedule, though.
The schedule. This is
going to be rough. I think.
I mean, the Germany game's big against the Patriots. I don't know if I want to wake up that early to watch 2 bottom teams try to fight it out in Germany.
Thanks.
I don't know. I think I could guarantee a win maybe against Houston, maybe against Tampa Bay, maybe upset against the Rams, depending on that. I don't know. I think the ceiling is 5. 5 wins is a ceiling.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, Richardson and Bryce have a 4:00 game. Just saying.
You are so dude. Did you really are that curious about watching bad football, Dom? You want to watch bad football this bad?
I just think with the story, well, I'm not going to go back to it and say it again. That's the same thing I said before. But like you said, it could have been a Thursday night game. I don't care about that matchup in this one, though.
Yeah, I say 5 wins is the ceiling.
I have 3 games.
Yeah, I think 5 is ceiling. I think 5 is ceiling. I think
if Jonathan Taylor's on this team, I mean, I think it's a whole different story. But I mean, until we figure
there could
that
be
saga.
7 games. I mean, I just still don't think.
This team stinks.
I think this team kind of stinks.
Oh, brother. This team.
Yes,
This
exactly.
team
Oh,
stinks.
brother, this guy stinks.
I don't really like it.
Uh,
Well, you didn't ask the question last team.
I mean, here. Yeah. So what will make the season successful for the Indianapolis Colts?
God. We can answer some of these questions.
Praying for Santa Claus to get something to make this team go right.
Yeah, what's a success? Pray for Santa Claus
They
to
need
give them Jonathan Taylor back.
They need a Christmas miracle. It's just they need to answer some of these questions, bro.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's exactly it. Exactly. 7 wins is a realistic number with Jonathan Taylor. I think it's unrealistic without him.
Yeah, it's 7 games max because the receivers stink.
And then let me ask you, okay, what will make the season successful for the Houston Texans?
Oh man, if they could,
I really think they can. Man,
I mean, I feel like
Easily for these 2 teams, it's about the rookie quarterbacks. That's it.
Yeah.
What's successful is because they're not going to win any playoff games or make the playoffs. It's going to be Jacksonville's to lose. It all comes down to your rookie quarterbacks. Like, can I look into next season like guaranteed we have our quarterback, or do I have a lot of questions going into next year? Like, oh boy, like if he doesn't have a good year next year, we're in a lot of trouble and back to square one again. That's what it looks like for these 2
Yeah,
teams.
the answer is hope. That's a successful season.
and dreams. Let's not forget dreams.
it's just like
Or
if you
dreams
can
and nightmares.
if you can build some solid chemistry with the quarterbacks and some receivers, build some connections there, build some sure like answers to some of the questions, figure out what the heck you're doing at the running back position with Jonathan Taylor. Like it's just all about answering questions and realizing what is solid to keep for the future and what is not. Where do you need to build after this season? What are your,
That defense, the first thing you got to rebuild.
Yeah, this defense on this is not fun. I don't like the defense on this team at all.
Let's move on to the happiest town, voted the happiest town in America, Nashville, Tennessee, where the Tennessee Titans, after the first 12 weeks, looked like they were running away with the division. Then Ryan Tannehill gets hurt, and then the team crumbles and not winning another game again. Yeah, Mike Vrabel's there for another year. They hire Ron Carthon from the 49ers to be their next GM. And they bring in a big piece who's in the centerpiece of that photo right there, DeAndre Hopkins. I got nothing else to say for hyping him up. This division's really depressing me.
Wow.
Let's go into the offense here where I'm going to just say this right now. Will Levis and Malik Willis are not competing with Ryan Tannehill to be that starting quarterback.
No,
They're going to be sitting the entire year.
I honestly think Ryan Tannehill could play it, could have a decent season.
Ryan Tannehill at his best. I would take Ryan Tannehill if everything worked out.
Ryan Tannehill is like a quieter, less impressive Kirk Cousins.
He's a Tennessee Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like the Giants have speedy Kirk Cousins.
Yes,
I have the darkness Kirk Cousins.
Video. Everybody's Kirk Cousins.
That's true. Yeah, no, I just think I think Ryan Tannehill is not honestly a bad.
At the very least, he gets his job back by week 4.
Who?
Tannehill. If they start Levis, they're getting it back by week 4.
There's no way that he doesn't start though.
That's what I'm saying, though.
No,
Very worst, he's getting his job back by week 4. That if anyone else starts, they're getting benched.
I like what they have done with the roster. I mean, Tannehill highlighted this yesterday on NFL Network. They've revamped this offensive line, drafting Peter Skoronski, signing Andre Dillard, Daniel Brunski from the 49ers, also Chris Hubbard from Cleveland, and the receiving core as well. I like D-Hop here, although every team has that one position where they go to die, and Nashville's just where receivers go to die. unfortunately. But Traylon Burks is a wide receiver too. I love so much more than him being the top receiver.
Oh yeah,
by a mile,
100%.
And they have a really good tight end too.
Chega Kwankwa from Maryland. Gotta love him. I like this. I like this offense.
Before injuries last year, like they were what?
They had a 4-game lead on the division. They have 4 games on the division, and then Tannehill sprains his ankle. He gets the surgery after the Chargers game, and that's where it all just heads south.
They had plenty of other injuries as well, right at that time too.
Yeah, they lost a lot of pieces on defense as well.
Oh, here's
they were right in the wild card spot mid-year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the wild card spot.
I can't believe you guys are like this much into this team. Tannehill's getting benched at some point here.
Yeah.
See, thank you. I'm agreeing. This guy, got to keep this guy on. We're gonna add him as a mystery guest.
I don't.
He's gonna be a part of the fighting circle.
Mystery guest. But no, like seriously, I don't think Tannehill's that good at all. You got 2 young quarterbacks. You got to see them eventually.
Well, Tannehill's on his last year of his contract.
Yeah.
My
Tannehill's
point. They're gonna end up like. I still have no idea why D-Hop decided to sign with the Titans. You could have signed anywhere.
I have it, Colton. I have it, Colton.
Could have signed the Patriots.
Why'd you build an original, Krusty Krab? Well, no. Why'd you build a second one right next to the original?
I was a little bit butthurt about him not signing with the Patriots, to be honest.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't want to play with Mac Jones either.
No, that's way better.
You know, I would rather play Mac Jones than Tannehill or Malik Willis or Will Levis right now in their careers.
I'd rather have Justin Fields pass me the football.
That too. That would have been interesting. But yeah, this team is not going to be good either. This team is going to be bad also. Like, I don't think this team's any good. And, like, if you're the Titans, why are you playing Tannehill? You know he's gone next year.
I think you play him for at least half the season. You play him for at least half the season. And then if
giving him 4 games.
If it's not being
going on a 4-game thing, Dom. If they're 3-1, somehow I'll keep playing them. But if they're 1-3, you somehow squeak away a 2-2 win where it's like, oh, we didn't really deserve the win. I'm probably not playing them. Like, what is it doing for you? Great. You stay relevant to get a mid pick. What does that do for you? Where if you're an absolute dumpster fire, you might have your hat in the Caleb Williams in the ring. Like, that's why I don't understand playing Tannehill. I don't, unless they come out firing right out of the game, they're playing really good football. I find zero reason to be playing out Tannehill. He's awful. Well, you didn't want him this year. You wanted him gone anyway.
I think if you can, like you said, if they're not playing very good football, I think this could just be a nice transition season into maybe Will Levis. Like, just see what happens, you know?
But
transition out of Tannehill if it's not going well.
This is Derrick Henry's football team to lose. They rebuilt that offensive line. Derrick Henry's still going to be a dominant powerhouse in the NFL. He's still going to finish top 3 in rushing. He's going to be okay. Here, let's go back to full screen here because I also want to ask this because we're on the Titans. How many 5-year-olds will it take to tackle Derrick Henry?
All of them.
That's a great answer. All of them. I like that.
There's your TikTok right there.
All of them.
I would say at least 100. I mean,
it's not even about tackling them. It's like how many does there have to be until he trips over them?
Well, it looked like the NFL 100 commercial where they're just throwing each other through tables the entire time.
And I gotta say, in defense of Tannehill to Colton, no one has handed off the ball quite like Tannehill has historically to Derrick Henry. So I'm just saying, you know.
And also to Reggie Bush, Jay Ajayi, I mean, whatever other bum, Frank Gore, I mean, he was there in Miami.
That's true. It's called Frank Gore bum, Will. Oh.
Colton, are you the one that's driving here? I mean, we haven't answered this.
Definitely not the one driving, boys.
I mean, see, he's a smart man, okay? It's not like Oklahoma where they worry about the cattle chases and all that stuff on the Channel 5 helicopter traffic cam.
It's like that llama video. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's look at this defense, though.
The defense, I mean, it's highlighted with the addition of Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's wearing 0. I mean, that's scary for a defensive back to do that. Other than that, I mean, hey, Kevin Byard, he's still there. I mean, he didn't take the pay cut. They're paying him. They signed Jeffrey Simmons to, top defensive tackle money. Harold Landry, who missed all last season with an ACL, he comes back, hopefully healthy. This defense is middle of the road. It's middle of the road. I'm not saying I say it's between the rankings of 12 to 20.
I would give it a little bump just because of who's the coach.
Mike Vrabel will go on the field too and hit a guy if he needs to.
Probably would.
Definitely would. It's just like whatever we got last year out of this defense, we could get slightly better. And then that's that. I mean, it's a similar defense to last year. Murphy Bunting, I like him. I think he's pretty decent. It's a slight addition. It's basically that. It's just a slight increase.
From what I've heard,
slight upgrade.
Byard's back to his old
good
top level self.
He was very good at his peak. I mean, he's one of the best.
I mean, yeah, he's only on year, I think 8. Like he's still young. Like he's the oldest guy on the defense, but he's.
That's
hey, a big vocal point for this team.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's better than Indianapolis's, maybe.
I mean, I think it'll be better than Indianapolis's.
But it's not. You're not winning games from your defense, or not many games from your defense. Still, Well, maybe. I mean, this is a Mike Vrabel team, and they still squeak in. And
I mean, I'm putting a lot of in my opinion, this team, I'm putting a lot of stock more in Vrabel than the team.
Yeah,
like he has shown that he just drags mid teams to wild card and playoffs. And this is a mid team
that should have made the playoffs last year. I mean,
should have made the playoffs last year.
It's true.
I think this is squarely with health again, a wild card team.
I still think there's a tank for D-Hop too. I mean, it's really, it's Colton's talking, but
what? Did you just say they're a wild card team?
I think they can.
Oh my Lanta. Jake, I've agreed.
I don't think they're as bad
things during these shows. Holy God. Are they in the NFC? NFC, that's cool. Yes. They're in the NFC.
They were there last year.
This is worse than an anime betrayal here.
Deshaun Watson's now back in Cleveland. Kenny Pickett's got year 2. What? I'm sorry. Those teams are both better than the Titans. Like, what? Dude, no way. You just said that, Jake. Come on.
I think
Jake, I'll Venmo you $20 if somehow the Titans make the wild card. I'll Venmo you $20.
Deal.
Like, holy gosh. And
is there a virtual handshake here?
You could Venmo me a penny.
You guys should do like a Titans Steelers thing.
Oh my gosh. The Steelers are going to have a better record than the Titans. That's for sure.
Well,
Jake, I can't believe you just said that.
Titans will compete. I think if D-Hop and Tannehill have a solid connection, I honestly do think they can compete more than a lot of people are giving them right now.
This is the same position that Will just said they go to die in. DeAndre Hopkins, Hopkins wasn't healthy with Kyler Murray. He's all of a sudden going to be healthy with Ryan Tannehill. Oh,
it was said best that Tannehill, no, not Tannehill. D-Hop's not that guy that gets hurt. Like, he's a tall guy. He's obviously going to get double teamed. He's going to get hit a lot. Like, he's not hurt, but he has the mileage. He has a lot of mileage on him.
I still think he has some tank left.
Tank or 2 tank?
That's the question. All right, let's
look at the defense here, and by the looks of it, man, oh yeah, the schedule. Yeah, let's look at the schedule. Okay, yeah. So week 7 bye. I give them 3-3 at the bye. I think they could go. I think they go 500 at the bye. I mean, and then after the bye,
hammer the Titans, or you hammer the Colts, but don't hammer the Titans. Boys, we got to have some balance here and holding teams accountable. This is a bad football team, guys. What? I can see them being winless going into their bye. They're bad. You think they're beating the Saints? I don't think so. Beating the Chargers? No.
Week 1,
guys.
I mean, week one depends how much Derek Carr plays in the preseason and whatever goes on with their team. I'm not saying that's a win. I think, Browns they could beat. Colts they're going to obliterate. The Ravens have not played very good in London. I mean, they also got blown out to Jags team in 2017 there. I don't know, but then after the bye, let's see. Win against Atlanta, win against Tennessee. I'm going to say they split with the Jaguars, so I'll say they win the Week 11 one. They lose against the Panthers, beat the Colts.
I mean, I really do have them around where the Colts are, though, where it's like I really can't give them too much.
They're not good. They're not good.
I'll say 7 wins. 7 wins the ceiling.
I agree with that 7-win ceiling.
That's not a wild card team.
It depends here.
Derek Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and if Ryan Tannehill, Derek Henry, Ryan Tannehill with D-Hop, maybe if they could put that together, dude, I don't think that's bad.
This sounds like Dom talking the Falcons into something. This is exactly what I'm hearing.
It wasn't that long ago that we watched AJ Brown have an insane season with Ryan Tannehill, Jonnu Smith. Corey, what's his name? Well, Jets. I can't remember his Corey Davis. Like, that was not that long ago. That was within the past 4 years. That was 3 years ago now, maybe. And that was an insane team. I don't think it's.
I mean, they were only good because Tannehill stepped in because Mariota can't pass the football to save his life.
I just don't think I can't just write it off that easily to me.
I don't know. I think I can even say the ceiling's 8 wins here. Derrick Henry owns Houston, and we've seen that countless times.
8 or 9.
I think this team's better than the Colts.
I mean, they're going to probably steal one from Jacksonville because Derrick Henry's average versus them is 200 yards.
Yeah, and that is true. Derrick Henry goes off against them.
He goes off against Houston and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I say 3-3, 4-2 in the division. They're going to sweep the Colts. I think that's an automatic ledge.
I think they sweep the Texans too.
I don't know.
8-9 wins. That's that nice.
This is the team we've disagreed about, or we've been most varied about the most so far out of these 16 teams we've gone through.
But I really think they're see what Tannehill can do to close out his Tennessee chapter, because I know he won't be back there next year. Bold take right now, he's going to be the Commanders quarterback next year.
Well, do you want to ask the question?
What will make this season successful for the Tennessee Titans?
Because I don't really know if I have an answer to
I can answer Colin, even though his mic's muted. Not a damn thing.
I don't have too much of an answer for that, honestly. I really don't.
Let's have health. I think health is what will make the season successful.
That doesn't mean
that's every team.
It's just I feel like it's one more year from there.
The offensive line, I think, is the big
Yeah, maybe
they stay healthy. They give Tannehill time, pass the ball. Yeah, they a home record. This team is going to be a home record. Let's head into our division winner down in Duval. The acquisition of Calvin Ridley midseason last year for a 4th, a 5th, a 7th, a 2nd. I don't even know what was a part of it, but these picks are so stupidly spaced out. I can't believe it. After what looks like all hope was lost in another just Jacksonville-esque season, Jacksonville pulls it together. They get a primetime game, Saturday night primetime game against the Titans to see who will win the division against Josh Dobbs and the Tennessee Titans. Jaguars do it. They have one of the most historic comebacks in the playoff history against Asante Samuel and the Los Angeles Chargers. And let's not forget, too, this team fought with Kansas City down to the very end in Kansas City, nonetheless. Maybe we could have seen them be an AFC championship game team. I don't know, but there's a lot of hope now down in Jacksonville. And I'll let you control it, Dom. Let's also state this too. Jacksonville has a $120 million new facility, and they have hydration systems in their urinals, as Scott Hansen points out. And I'll tell you, if you're hydrated, need hydration or you're super dehydrated. Very weird stuff. It gives you a traffic light system, green, yellow, and red.
Did Chip Kelly suddenly go down and build their facility?
Let's look at the offense here. I mean, I know we all said last year Christian Kirk signing that 4-year, $72 million has the upright to go to $84 million was the worst signing. I don't know what Doug Peterson and company was smoking, but they knew something that none of us knew. And that was a pretty incredible feat. But yeah, Calvin Ridley, triple zeros there. Zay Jones, he came in from Las Vegas last year. Very youthful receiving core. And Calvin Ridley's still on his rookie deal too. And he's 29 years old, I think.
Calvin Ridley is the X factor here that, is we can call that an addition to this team this year because
it depends how much rust is on him because by the time week 1 comes around, it'll be a little over 700 days because he hasn't played since the 2021 season where
he's also phenomenal in camp.
Will.
Phenomenal.
Ready for this one? I'll have to make you faint. I might put a bet in because last time I saw the over-under for his season yards, it was only
it was bad.
800.
Yeah, I think he can do much better than that. I think I did bet on that, didn't I?
I think I told you to.
Yeah, I think we were looking at
I couldn't remember which ones you actually did or not.
Yeah, it was a lot. But no, I think Calvin Ridley, I think it's a huge addition. I think he's going to be good. He has looked nothing less than really spectacular in camp. I've seen 4 videos of him roasting people and just looking good, catching the ball. Routes look crisp. And that's what was good at in Atlanta when he did play and he had a good season and whatnot. But I think, that's going to be the tail of the tape for the Jags.
Him and Trevor Lawrence just seems unfair.
I think Calvin Ridley, if he can be Calvin Ridley that we knew, and what it's looking like so far, I think that can be a step for them and elevate them from a 9-8 record they had last year to a double-digit, third in the AFC kind of team. I really do think that could elevate them.
And look into it, the offensive line. They don't have Cam Robinson for, I believe, the first 4 games. He's not listed on the depth chart here. So they drafted Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma.
Well, suspended.
The suspension. So Walker Littlefield's in at left tackle. Tight end 2, they pay Evan Ingram. I think 3 years, $40 million.
Great
give
season.
Him his bag. They draft Tank Bigsby, who I think will split with ETN. So it's going to be very, very split going down in Jacksonville there in the backfield.
I think ETN will look pretty good this season too.
Here's the problem. I like so much about this team, but I did watch quite a few Jags games last year. Don't ask me why, but a lot of the stuff that got Doug fired from the Eagles, he did last year, even last year. Just calling plays that don't make sense for the personnel you have. He just now he got crucified for not running the ball enough in Philadelphia. So now he just runs random right up the middle runs or zone runs for no reason other than just say, keep the balance. He's instead of what the 2 guys he has, what they're good at. Outside zone runs like Derrick Henry, read from the outside in. And he just runs it for the sake of running it and hope it works. And that's what's kind of the problem with Doug at the end. He just does things for the sake of doing them without really a plan of how it's going to work.
It's an interesting thought or interesting realization or observation, I guess. I think wasn't there a quote about ETN from Peterson or something from this offseason where they're going to use him more, he's going to be big or something? I felt like I saw something from someone and it kind of changed my mind about, okay, maybe if they use him in more utility stuff and they do some more dynamic stuff with him, I think could elevate the team as well. I think that this team easily gets better from the 9-8 record they had last year from this offense alone.
I mean, look at the basically way I can drive that point home and then move on is look at Miles Sanders under Doug Peterson, where it's like barely gets used, random runs, and he's always leading the league in yards per touch.
Yeah.
And then gets a real actual workload with Steichen and looks like a guy and gets paid for it.
It's fair.
Let's move to the defensive side of the ball, where they have made a couple not really like big acquisitions, but highlighting last year, they had Devin Lloyd, they had Trayvon Walker, they drafted last year. Josh Allen's there now for year number 5. The secondary, though, Darius Williams, Trey Herndon, Rayshon Jenkins. They might not be like, oh, hey, these are big name guys, but
love this defense. At least the starters. Love it.
They got a nice mix of, well, I was gonna say old and young. They're all young. They're all like 7 years or less in the league. I'm not sure if this defense will be improved. Like, oh, hey, we're going to see like a drastic difference, but I think they could probably stay the same. I think there's a good chance they can.
Yeah, I also think this is with like year 2 Trayvon Walker. I think across from him, it's like Josh Allen's coming out here, his real coming out here.
I mean, Josh Allen's been good. I like him. I mean, he's been a great addition to this team. He's like a cornerstone of this defense.
Yeah, he's always had like good years, but I think like the big year that everyone's been expecting since he got drafted
could be this year.
Yeah.
And also too, like they haven't had a very good track record of linebackers being like, besides like Paul Pleslusny, who was there for an anchor like decade.
Are you talking about guys stuck for a while, or because?
Yeah, like they really haven't had that like linebacker guy, because they had Miles Jack they traded away. They had that. I'm drawing a blank of who the other I was gonna say Joe Schober. I was gonna say Joe Schober, but he was with Cleveland for a little bit before he went to Jacksonville.
There's one more with Miles Jack.
I really like Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma though. Like I really like those players.
Hey, Devin Lloyd's gonna be he's gonna be doing a lot of stuff.
Like
and Olukun too from Atlanta as well.
I mean, I really don't mind this team. I do think
but they did follow what they did in 2017, where they just pumped money. They were just signing people left and right. They make the playoff run, but then we saw the next year where they started out good and then they crashed and burned by like week 8.
I am interested to see the schedule though, because they're gonna have a tougher schedule now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big part of this.
I think I even read somewhere that like the Titans had like a bottom 5 schedule or something, like strength wise.
Well, yeah, the AFC's stronger, but most of those teams are all in that same range and just pick each other off.
Oh, I don't know. This doesn't look too bad.
They do have their first NBC game, if the schedule stays the way it is, since 2007.
Wow.
Jeez.
They have had a very long time, like the Jets. They have not had a primetime game, well, NBC game. Yes, we've seen them on Monday Night Football, and that's when you just didn't want to watch because who cares about Chad Henne and company? But yeah, looking at it here, I mean, they got the tough Kansas City week 2. That's going to be tough. Back-to-back London games. That's a very interesting thing to see.
I don't think this is that tough of a schedule.
It's not that tough. But I didn't count that many more wins than I did. I counted 8 or 9 for the Titans. I just counted 10 for the Jags.
And that's with them not competing with, for me, that's with them not competing with like Bills, with like Cincinnati, San Fran, Baltimore. And that's a late Baltimore if Lamar's out, just saying. I mean, like, I think that 10 wins is almost.
I have 10 wins as well.
I think even with Lamar, they beat him.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Also, Will, when you want me to, I have the name that you're looking for.
Yes, give me the name.
So the three linebackers were Miles Jack, Paul Leslie, and Telvin Smith.
Telvin
Smith.
Well, you abused him in Madden. How could you forget that?
I was thinking of a different middle linebacker though. That's
Telvin
what
Smith is a guy.
I mean, he's now in jail, but
yeah.
You could look that up on your own time while he's in jail. I'm not going to be the one that brings it up.
I'm not googling that one.
Not googling that one today. But I think 10 wins for the Jaguars. Yeah,
them against the NFC South is nice. That's nice.
It sucks too. They got to go to New Orleans. That's going to be a very difficult game.
Might be, might not be. I mean,
but when I count games I can kind of clearly see.
I think 10 wins is like a floor for them, to be honest.
I think they can honestly make rumblings. I mean, as long as they don't crash and burn.
Yeah, I really think they could be pretty huge. I think this is as long as Trevor Lawrence can still take a step forward.
Yep.
So
he can grow his game.
And Calvin Ridley might be a big part of that. There's a lot to this. ETN might be a part of that. I mean, there's a lot to this offense that has so many doors wide open. And they're just there's a lot more potential to be had on this offense. It's such a young squad that's been together. Really, last year was the first year that this squad was honestly solidly together. I don't really count that first year for Lawrence because that was what Urban Meyer, and he was kicking players, and it was
the name that we shouldn't discuss.
Yeah,
on the field, you call me a rookie head coach again.
It was
the bad man.
But sir, this is your first year in the NFL. You're a rookie.
This team really, really started over last year and put it all together for the first time last year. That's really the first year this squad was together. And I mean, it's literally the sky's the limit too for this team. Like we've talked about for some other team. There's a lot that this team could do to elevate their play, their game, their record, everything. They could sweep the whole division, to be honest. Did they sweep it last year? I didn't look at the record.
They went 4-2.
They could sweep it.
They started pretty bad last year.
Yeah, they were 3-7.
Yeah.
They got destroyed by Detroit, and that's when it just switched.
So, yeah.
I think that rounds out our episode. I think we may have gotten everyone at a very equal time this week. That's pretty impressive.
We might have. I think so.
We might have. I don't know. We're gonna get the official results in soon. But looking at the future index here, okay, the three very good divisions coming up: the NFC North, the NFC East, and then the AFC East, and a month, literally 4 weeks away till the season prediction episode. 29 days until kickoff. So there's a lot of fun coming up here for us, at least.
Will, how did you let me forget that the NFC East is on a day that I am not?
He's not going to be here. We're going to have to discuss this further.
We're moving episodes. Here we go.
All right. It's not like we haven't done it before.
I mean, it was going to happen.
I will be in Las Vegas.
Okay, well.
All right, but
have a great.
Yes. Any final thoughts?
I'm excited for this division for the most part. Not excited for the Colts, but I am excited for this division. I mean, I kind of am. It's kind of how I felt about the AFC or the NFC South. I felt the same way. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of excitement to be had. Calvin Ridley, the two quarterbacks. I mean, there's not, there's a lot of new in the NFL this year. There's a lot of new faces that are front and center this year under the lights. So I am excited about that. And this division is a big part of that, obviously. Yeah. I've never liked the Texans ever in my life. I've been anti-Texans for a long time. Not I've never hated them. I just never have liked them
Do
really.
you hate the state of Texas? Is that what you're telling us right
No,
now?
no, I don't. But I
Is it because they have Boosies there?
Bucky's.
No, it's Boosies.
But it's you know what? This might be the first time I've thought and looked at the Texans and said, "Hey, wow, you know what? I kind of like this team, and I look forward to seeing what they do." So it feels fresh. Looking at that team, looking at that picture, the Texans feel like a fresh team. So it is cool. That's a pretty cool thing. Nothing from you guys, just me, just my thoughts. Got it.
Nah.
Yeah, so ignore what I said 3 minutes ago about the NFC East being in 2 weeks. That might be next week. Switch up all that around.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna switch it up all around. Team emergency meeting after this.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week to the questionable division we'll be doing next week. So hey, can't wait for you to tune in. It's like the mystery lollipop. It has the question marks all over. Which one you gonna get? You gonna get butterscotch or you gonna get grape?
The jelly beans that you eat, and it could be really bad, could be really good.
It could be cat vomit or
Yeah, or marshmallows. Yeah, 100%. Oreo or dog poop. You don't know.
I don't know. You could have apple, or you might be evading your taxes. I don't know. Like, all right. Tune in next week for the great reveal of what division we'll be doing next. So thank you for tuning in every Wednesday live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and always next day on Apple Podcasts. Well, no, I'm not going to say all the podcasts. Wherever you get your podcast, we will be on there. So thank you for tuning in, and hey, see you on the next round.